Hi, this is Shane with The Rational Trader, and we're talking about the machine learning system and how we actually go about choosing when to predict, when to make a prediction, okay? What we're doing is we are looking for specific market behaviors, and then when we see those behaviors, we have modeled those using machine learning techniques, and then we're making a prediction from the machine learning server. Okay, there are two specific behaviors that we're currently looking for in the market. One is a turn where the market has advanced and is turning down, or has fallen and is turning up. Okay. And the other is when the market is pulling back. Either it is advanced and is pulling back, or it has fallen and is retracing. Okay, so there's really four there, right? There's a turn short, a turn long, a pullback long, or a retracement short. All right. In each of these behaviors, there is a spectrum that exists between a conservative entry or an aggressive entry. Okay. And so what I've done is, as I modeled those behaviors, I specify what kind of behavior is this? Is this entry a conservative entry or an aggressive entry? Okay. And so we're going to talk about those specifically because you have the choice in the machine learning system to define exactly how conservative or aggressive you want to be for each of these behaviors. Okay. So let's get started. Okay, so what I have up now is a chart of the NASDAQ. This is from Friday the 16th. And I just put a moving average on here. And it almost doesn't matter what period it is for what we're describing here. And what we're going to do is, this is just going to help us kind of divide up the world into lower and higher, okay? And so if we're above this, if we're above the line, but turning down, then the behavior that we're modeling here is a turn, and it's the turn model that will make a prediction. Okay. The turns are either noisy turns where it's not a lot of bars are involved, or kind of middle of the road, pretty solid indication of a turn, or a really strong indication that the market's turning. Okay, so that's the spectrum that exists for turns. Keep in mind that, like this bar here, I can tell the machine's going to make a prediction on. All right, there's a couple bars down, and then the market attempts to go up and doesn't go higher, and then turns down. Okay, we're going to get a prediction from the machine if it's within the time range that we've specified. And the prediction is either the turn will succeed or the turn will fail. Okay, this is one of the things that the machine learning system taught me, is that in the past I've always looked at this for what you see exactly on screen. I've always looked at this as an opportunity to get short, and my evaluation was solely, should I get short here or not? And yet what the machine has taught me is that repeatedly that system will predict that turn will fail and you should be getting long. Okay, and in fact, it's become among my favorite trades now to watch happen. Okay, so you're going to get a prediction. That prediction will be either success or failure, meaning it is successfully turning. We're predicting it will turn, or that the turn will fail. We're predicting that it won't fail, that it will not turn. Okay, so there's a successful turn or a failed turn. There is a code for each one of those: successful turn, failed turn. For a noisy turn, a strong turn, or a kind of in between, a solid turn. All right. The pullbacks are the same way. If I kind of pull back here to, let me clear this. if I pull back, all right, but then turn up, right, which you can, I went a little too far there. You can see that happening right here. Looks like I'm turning, then I pull, but you could also look at that like that's a pullback, right? There's a larger pullback here, and now, you know, the whoops, come on, the pink line is the pullback, and then this green line would be the indication that it is pulling back and going to continue higher. So, you know, we would get a pullback prediction here, all right, and it's the same thing. The pullback will either succeed or fail, all right. The prediction will be either the pullback's going to succeed or the pullback's going to fail, all right, or I can't tell, do nothing, or rather, I think you should do nothing because I think it's just going to go sideways. So those are the predictions. I did not mention that for the turns. I should have. So the system will make a prediction, and the prediction is either the turn will succeed, the turn will fail, or it's going to go sideways. Don't do anything. All right. So the same thing here. All right. On the pullback, we're going to get the pullback's going to succeed, the pullback's going to fail. So in this case, it's a long pullback, so get short, or it's going to go sideways. Don't do anything. All right. Those are the three actions that you're going to get. We only care about getting long or getting short, so that's kind of all we talk about. Now, the depth of that pullback governs how conservative or aggressive I consider it. All right. So if the market's pulling back, whoops, wrong button there. Sorry. If the market's pulling back, you know, the market's advancing and it's not pulling back very much and then turning up, that's aggressive to me. I consider that aggressive. If it pulls back deeper, then I'm going to consider that, you know, more conservative, moderate. And if it pulls back even deeper, then that would be a conservative pullback, what I would consider kind of the one that I always want, right? I'm always afraid that I'm getting in before the pullback is finished. Now I don't have to worry about that because the machine learning system just does it for me. But this is what governs whether or not the pullback or retracement is considered aggressive. You know, here's aggressive, doesn't pull back very much, or, you know, moderate. It pulls back a reasonable amount, but not as much as maybe you'd like. Or, you know, the blue one here would be conservative. All right. So like the one we're looking at right here, you know, that bar right there, that's in the moderate category. That's not a terribly aggressive pullback, but it's not conservative either. All right. So we're going to get the prediction that comes out of the system here is going to be in the moderate category. All right. And the same is true for let's say the pullbacks here. Let me clear everything here. So here, you know, the market has fallen and is now retracing, all right? And then we're seeing, you know, here on that bar right there, there's turning behavior. Is the market turning or not? So we'll get turn predictions there, success or failure or do nothing, all right? Here, the market is wrong button again, is turning, is retraced and is rolling over. We're gonna get predictions in here now on is the market turning, is the turn gonna fail, or should you do nothing because the prediction is it's gonna go sideways. Okay, so there is for turns, you know, the spectrum from conservative to aggressive, and for the pullbacks there is a spectrum of conservative to aggressive. So now let's go look at the spreadsheet to help us understand exactly what that looks like in terms of the codes that the system will produce that we have to choose to use or not use. All right, so this is the spreadsheet. This is in the documents download directory, so you can pull that down and take a look at it. And I have it printed out because I still am getting used to it. Let's look at the top section here first. Okay, so we're gonna focus on this area first. This is the turns. Okay, so noisy, you know, not very many bars involved in the turn. Kind of middle of the road, and then fairly strong indication that the market's going to turn. And then, of course, for each of those, there's a long. The market's turning long, or it's turning short. All right. And then, okay, for each of those cases, the prediction can either be that yes, the turn will succeed, or it will fail. All right. And so if it's a noisy long and the prediction is to get long, the action code will be 101. All right. And if the prediction is that turn will fail and you want to get short, or rather the system will get short, the code is 221. Now there is a logic to this. If it starts with a 1, that means get long. And if it starts with a 2, it means get short. Okay, or the prediction is to get short. All right. So for a noisy short, the success code is 201. For the noisy short that's going to fail, in other words, the prediction is that the turn will not succeed, and in fact you want to get long, the code is 121. Okay, all these codes and how they're used are going to make sense in the next tutorial, which is about how to choose how to tell the system how aggressive or conservative that you want to be. Actually, that statement's incorrect because it's this tutorial. We're going to go over that in just a minute here. All right, so for the turns then, we have these cases, right? We've got noisy, long or short, success or failure, kind of the solid turn, success or failure, and then the strong turn, success or failure. All right. If we look at the bottom case here, now we're going to come back to this middle one in just a minute here. So for right now, we're going to go to the bottom case. This is for pullbacks, conservative, moderate, aggressive, and it's the same thing. If it's a pullback long and it's conservative and the prediction is that the pullback will succeed and you want to get long, the code will be 154. And if the prediction is that it's going to fail, then the code will be 285 and you want to get short. Okay. Pullback short, pullback. It's a classical pullback. If the pullback is short, conservative, the code will be 254. All right. And because you want to get short, it starts with a 2, right? If the pullback short is predicted to fail, then you want to get long. That code is 185. All right. Conservative, moderate, aggressive. So just like we talked about. So a deep pullback, not so deep, hardly deep at all, hardly pulling back at all would be aggressive. All right. There's a middle group here, which we haven't talked about yet. So let's go back to the Sierra chart and describe. There's another kind of pullback that occurs. Okay. So if we look actually right here, let me clear this again. If we look right here, this is the case that we're going to talk about. Earlier, we said, hey, look, we can see the market pulling back and we can see an indication that it is continuing and we're going to get a prediction there. Right? This is a very traditional, very normal looking pullback that we'll make a prediction on. All right. But there's also a pullback here. You could look at it like this. All right, and is the market pulling back here? But this case is different if you'll notice. You'll notice that this bar right here, this bar, the market advances and then it turns down and doesn't continue lower. It advances again. And so instead of like 2 consecutive bars here, which is an indication that the market's turning, you actually get a little bit of a test of the level that was set. And it's that pullback behavior that I'm modeling separately, okay? Or rather, we have separate action codes to help delineate between a pullback where the market just takes off versus a pullback where the market does a little test of the level that it's set before it takes off, all right? And so to me, I personally have always liked this kind, where there's a little test in the pullback itself. The market often doesn't give it to you, so it'll be what it'll be. And And so we need to be able to track both. But in the spreadsheet, I assign a different action code so that you can make a choice if you want to include or exclude either group. All right, so if we go back to here, that's what this middle group is. It's the same conservative, moderate, or aggressive pullback. So, deep, not so deep, hardly a pullback at all. But there is this little test occurring of the level that's been set by the initial pullback. All right, and those have different codes, and that's what these codes are. 135 for a conservative, a deep pullback, like this pullback here. That's a conservative pullback. You pulled back pretty deep. And if the prediction is that pullback will succeed and you should get long, it'll be 135 is the code that comes back from the server, the machine learning server. If the prediction is that no, that's going to fail, you need to get short, it will be 295, starting with a 2. And the same thing for the short. All right, if the pullback is, if the market's retracing and then rolling over, and it's predicted to succeed, then the code is 235. And if it's predicted to fail and you want to get long, it'll be 195. All right. So if you've been watching the daily videos, you've seen these codes appearing below the bars, and you've heard me making commentary about them. This is what they all mean. All right. Now you'll notice that there are colors for each of these codes, and that's because what I did is I went and did an analysis of how conservative and aggressive, or rather how profitable and how not profitable, or how often you are taking a loss on that code versus how often you're not. This kind of analysis to understand, okay, if I wanted to create a group of codes that represented a conservative approach to trading, what would that be? All right, and that's what's listed in green. Conservative is green. All right, so if I want to trade conservatively, I'm going to use all the green codes. You can see all the pullbacks are conservative. All right, and I'm staying away from the noisy turn. All right, it should make perfect logical sense. I'm only going to take turns that look reasonable. They don't look noisy, and I'm only going to take nice, respectable pullbacks. All right. More aggressive, or what I would call moderate, would be take those greens and add the blues. Okay, so what the blues do is they add the moderate pullbacks, this row and this row, all right, and they also add the noisy shorts. Okay, so what I found is that when the market is turning, that noisy short is actually pretty good compared to the noisy long. When the market's falling, you get these noisy long predictions, and they are much less reliable, is what I found in my analysis. All right, so this is how I've organized it. If I want to be more aggressive, I will add the blues to the greens. All right, this is how I've been trading the last 2 weeks. Okay, more aggressive still is add these tan colors. Okay. So add the noisy longs, add the aggressive, successful pullbacks, short and long. That's what these 4 are, aggressive, successful pullbacks, okay? And that's what I consider aggressive trading. The red ones, I don't recommend doing at all. Actually, I don't make recommendations so much. I'll just tell you that what I see is that what that says, just think about it logically, what that says is the market is moving strongly up. It's not pulling back very much, but the prediction is failure. And what I see repeatedly is that you get just crushed. All right. And so I don't think it's a good trade to be taking. The system will predict it. They actually model profitably. The reason they model profitably is that in quieter markets, they're actually good trades to take. And so this is where we're going with this, is that when the market gets really volatile, you're going to want to switch to a conservative set of codes. All right? And when the market quiets down, you can get more aggressive, because the market's not, when the market's not blasting off, and you see an aggressive pullback with a failure prediction, that's probably a good trade to take. All right. Certainly, you now have a tool to go model that and simulate it and test it in replay and see for yourself. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to Sierra chart and see, exactly, well, where are these codes and how do I tell the system that I want to be conservative, moderate, or aggressive? All right, so let's get our spreadsheet out of the way. And again, this is in the documents download area. You can just go grab that. And what we want to do is we want to go to the spreadsheet study. And in the spreadsheet study, there is this column in the H column of purple background cells. Any action code in this cell, the system will take a trade on. If that code is not in this group of purple cells, it won't do it. So you'll notice the 101's not there. That noisy turn long's not there. All right. There's these gaps where I've taken out the code that I don't want to trade because I think it's too aggressive. All right. This is talked about a little bit more in the options, the auto trading options tutorial. So you can go watch that as well. You'll notice in the upper left here, you have this drop-down menu. It says sheet 6 here. There's also a sheet 1 here you can go grab. All right, if you look at sheet 1, you'll see there's a list of conservative, moderate, and aggressive. And you can just grab this list, okay? Right-click and copy value. All right, and then come over to here and paste it in, and that's the set of code you're going to use now. All right, paste. All right, so now I'm going to use those codes as my actions I'm going to take. So if a 121 comes in, I'm going to take a trade on that. All right, it happens to be the same because that's the one I've been using. Okay, if I want to be aggressive, then I'm going to go and copy the aggressive codes. Copy value. I did a right click there. Go back to sheet 6 and come up here and go paste. And now I'm going to take this set of aggressive codes now. It's all of them. It's pretty aggressive. And then if I want to be conservative, I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to go grab these. Copy value. Okay. And you got to be a little careful now because you're going to see that when I paste this, some of these codes are going to be left down here. All right, so pay attention to that. Watch. Paste. I pasted in, and it's a little hard to tell actually that I didn't actually get rid of some of them. So it would be better to do this. This would be a sounder strategy. Come in here. I selected all of them, and I right-clicked. Do a clear selection, and now come up here and do paste, and you'll get just those conservative codes that you wanted. Okay, I actually like that approach better. All right, so let me put it back the way that I want because this is my actual production chart book here. And so we'll clear that selection, and we're going to come back to sheet 1, and we're going to go to moderate, and we're going to copy these. All right, and we'll go back to sheet 6, and I'm going to paste those in. And now I'm ready to go for next trading day. All right, so there's a lot of information in this video. Watch it more than once if you need to. We're modeling market behaviors. We are assigning a level of conservative or aggressiveness to that behavior, and then providing a code that describes that to the system and to you. So you can choose what you do and don't want to take. So you have actually an enormous amount of control here over what it is that you want to do. All right, but to make it easy, not to get so you don't get overwhelmed with all the choices, I've created 3 simple groups of conservative, moderate, and aggressive for you to choose from.